Good evening, baseball fans. It is Wednesday, August 7th. This is, I say like a late version of Bourbon and Baseball, but there's been other Bourbon and Baseballs. We did a 2.5 hour trade. I was going to say preview. It's not a preview. Review. That's the word I was looking for. Review. If you missed that on the YouTube live, go check that out. I did not put it on the audio side because I'm lazy and I really just didn't want to edit it. So if you are audio only and that's how you consume this podcast, please let me know if that's how you want to consume the podcast, and I will put it up there specifically just for you. So holler at me, let me know. But besides that, I'm Suzy. That is Kelsey. This is Bourbon and Baseball, all the balls edition, and away we go. I'm going to give you the rated R warning right off the top, though. I'm not super mad about really anything, so there may or may not be cuss words, but I'm going to give you the rated R warning anyways, just because I will cuss regardless of how I feel. If there are tiny children around that you don't want to hear cuss words or learn new cuss words, put some earmuffs on them or listen to this later. But no judgment. Just don't come for me when the 4-year-old now strings together, fuck damn it, and then you're like, where did that come from? Oh, it's Suzy.
Yeah.
So
I just got done Zooming with my family, and my 4-year-old niece was hanging out with my brother before bedtime, and we like all kept cussing and kept at her being like, "What did you say?" And then she repeated one of them at one point. So yeah, you can parent like my brother. No, he's an amazing dad, but up to you. So even get fair warning.
yeah, no judgment regardless. And it's so funny when people, they're like, Suzy, do you cuss like this around your children? I go, absolutely not. And that's why I have to do it when they're
Right.
not around. I
Wait,
have
there
to
is
let it all out.
for it.
But I think I said something the other day. I think I dropped something and my children were right there and they turned around. Mom.
Your
They
kids
cracked
are
me up.
old
I know,
enough
like, yeah.
that and they're old enough that I expect that they would know what a bad word is by now, but I'm like,
Yeah.
how did my 4-year-old niece even know? I don't know. Obviously, it's slipped enough, and
Yeah.
my sister-in-law's probably gotten mad at my brother. She knows that he's not supposed
Yeah.
to say those words, and I don't know what kind of child you were, Susie, but I, as an oldest child, I was a bit of a
Were you,
goody two-shoes myself.
I was going to say, you're a rule follower. I can tell.
I was scolding my parents for cussing.
Well,
I'm
that's what
proud
they
to see
did.
that my oldest child, niece is doing that as well.
Yeah, that's what they did. They were like, Mom, you are not allowed to say that word around us. I was like, that is fair, but I'm not just saying it just to say it. I did
Right.
drop
My
something on my
bad.
toe. Yeah. And I think I said something was stupid the other day. And they're like, oh, Mom,
Not
you
nice.
cannot say that either. And I'm all, I'm so glad that you are a better person than I am. Like, I'm glad that I'm raising you as
Raising
a better
children.
person. You know,
Well, how are you feeling? Because you say Kikuchi has had his first 2 starts for the Astros, and they've been pretty decent, yeah?
absolutely. Absolutely. Feeling real good over here. He got into a little bit of trouble trying to get his quality start today, but the fact that he legitimately doesn't ever go 6 innings, I wasn't really expecting quality start from him. I'm like, look, dude, just go your 5 innings, give up your 1 run, strike out the world, go sit down. That's fine. So it's very good for my actual team, not so good for my fantasy team because the guy who I'm playing has Yusei Kikuchi and he just absolutely killed me today.
Ooh.
So yeah, glass half full for a real team, glass half empty for fantasy team. But regardless, that's neither here nor there. Yusei Kikuchi has been a great pickup for the Houston Astros. Yes, we did give up a pretty penny for him. However, if Justin Verlander does not come back, Yusei Kikuchi can slot in and start a postseason game for us. And I don't think anyone would bat an eye. We'd be a little bit more hesitant, but I'd be fine. I just have to throw this in there as well. We gave up Joey Loperfido, super awesome outfielder, gold glove capabilities. I'm talking flashing leather everywhere, right? Loved this kid. Came up through the system. After I was initially mad about the trade, put like my actual baseball hat on and said, okay, I have to look at this through the lens of an actual baseball knower. And the fact that he was striking out 40% of the time, I can't, that's, it could be worked on. Definitely can be worked on. But he wasn't an immediate impact bat. And I realized hitting a baseball, very hard. I'm fully aware. Okay. But we gave Joey Loperfido up in the trade. Our Houston Astros offense has been absolute hot garbage the last, I don't know, 9-ish games. We brought up Zach DeZenzo. And when I say we brought up Zach DeZenzo, like we skyrocketed him through the system. He'd only played 11 total AAA games.
Yeah.
He debuted last night. He went 0 for 4, but 0 for 4 with a 1K, I think. All of the other ones, hard hit balls. Today, motherfucker goes a 2 for 4. First MLB show hit, double off the wall that almost got out.
Hell yeah.
The second hit was a single, hard hit single, and the 2 other outs, line outs, making awesome plays at first.
Oh, yeah, because they're slotting him in at first base too,
Mhm.
which is exciting for them to have that option.
Yes. So I understand my Astros fans, Jake Bloss, Joey Loberfito, Will Wagner, all very hefty prices to pay. But Yusei Kikuchi looks like he is panning out for all intents and purposes in these last two starts. Zach DeZenzo would not have been here,
Yeah.
not contributed to today's win over the Texas Rangers. I was going to be very snarky, but I held it in. I held it in. And Joey Loberfito would have been here. He gets to play every single day in Canada. That's where I was originally going with this. He gets to play every day, gets to be the everyday outfielder, and eventually maybe he'll turn into George Springer. Who knows? But
Yeah. I don't really understand the fans who are just like so bitter that they want players who are traded away from their team to fail. I love following players who get traded away and hoping to see them succeed. And sometimes all it takes is a change of scenery. But the other thing I want to ask you about in regards to starting pitchers specifically is I don't know if you saw about TrevorRogers, who has recently been traded from the Marlins to the Orioles. And he has come out and said that he is getting feedback and coaching that he has never received and feels like the development for him as a starting pitcher has been like night and day from his time with the Marlins organization now to his time with the Orioles. So, not necessarily directly comparing the Blue Jays and the Astros, but just like in any case, do you think it is legitimate to say that a starting pitcher could be a different pitcher and or ultimately maximize their potential with a different organization?
absolutely. And I'm not saying that the Astros are a pitching factory. I'm not saying that we're the Rays. However, the fact that in 2019, when we got Garrett Cole from the Pirates, immediately turned into Cy Young caliber. The fact that when Justin Verlander left the Astros and went to the Mets and turned around and said, "Oh, this is not the information that I was getting over there." Like it, the quantity, the quality of the information. I think some of that has changed. I actually think JV initiated. Good night. Words are hard. Initiated some of that change to I don't know update them and their analytics. But I have a hard time believing that it is as easy as you say coming from the Blue Jays to the Astros and them immediately being like, FYI, your fastball is getting lit up. Your changeup, however, is really
Yeah.
good. Throw this more, throw this less.
Yeah, it doesn't seem
You
like it
you
could
would
be
think,
that simple. But I do
but
think
it is.
and they brought up this
Or
point on Foul Territory today, which is why I've been thinking more about it, but I am a group fitness coach, personal trainer, and so I'm very into, like, just the mental part of coaching and all of that as well, and I think it's a very real thing that you can be saying essentially the same thing, but good coaching is saying it in a different way depending
Yep.
on who you're talking to and how they need to hear it and really meeting the player where they're at. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it I would love to talk to a player like more like TrevorRogers who does feel that quickly it has made an impact on him because it how cool would it be? And I think a lot of Astros fans might be a lot higher on Yusei Kikuchi at the organization was able to come out and say, "Hey, there are these specifics that we feel like we can capitalize on with him in a way that his previous organization didn't."
Yep. Absolutely. And I think you're seeing it play out. I understand very small sample size. The fact that he went out and I think he struck out 8 today. His first start, he struck out 11. Overall, his strikeout numbers were not that high this season or last season for that matter. I want to say
Mhm.
maybe 4-ish per game. So I don't know if it's pitching sequence. I don't know if it is, and again, I don't know if he's calling his own pitches when he was in the Blue Jay
Right.
system. And now over here, I know over here, we're big on having the catchers call the game and just, hey, let me worry about the brain. You just need
Execution.
the arm.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it's as simple as that. Who knows? But he looks like he's got a great relationship with Victor Caratini. And hopefully that maybe it pans out to where because we had signed you say maybe we'll sign him again. Maybe that will bring in other international Japanese players. I would love that. Super awesome. But who knows? We shall see how it ends up when the fat lady sings, as they like to say. And hopefully it turns out in our favor. But I think we are at least more on the cutting edge
Oh,
than
definitely.
most systems. So we'll see.
And you and I, we are not here to specialize on taking the over under on strikeouts per se, but what we are really in tune on, I gotta say, I gotta give it to us. What we are on the cutting edge of is vibes, specifically
Absolutely.
vibes in Major League Baseball. So we're gonna revisit a segment that you may have heard before, maybe a month or so ago. And we're going to present to you now Draft Queens. Actually, Draft Queens presents this our Bet on Vibes segment. We are going to place bets. I'm not sure what for, but very serious, very hard, objective analytics has been put in play here to help us determine these bets on vibes. So the first bet, I guess, we're going to make here is we're going to talk about the White Sox because their vibes, we need to analyze these right now, I think. So as they just were on a massive losing streak, the record, I believe, of games lost in a row was 23. Fortunately, they broke the losing streak at 21. They beat the Oakland Athletics and they stopped the losing streak at 21. First bet here on vibes is how low are the vibes? Will they break the modern era record of 121 losses in a season? What's your over under on 121 losses, Suzy?
This is not a math pod, so I don't know. Is that mathematically possible?
Yes, they are. I think there's at least a 50% chance, like actually mathematically, that they would get to 121 losses. So my question for you is knowing that there's at least 50-50 that they're going to do it. Are the vibes like low enough that we're trending in that direction?
I think so. I think we are. And what really sucks is, but I don't know if Jerry Reinsdorf is trying to tank a la Astros from a few years back. But
Right.
now that they've put in place the whole lottery of draft pick,
Yeah.
and if you have the first draft pick one year, you can't have it back-to-back years.
Mhm.
So they've done all of this losing, and I think they cannot draft higher than 10 next season. And so I understand that their farm system is actually pretty decent. They have a lot of really good prospects. But if the big club is run like this,
Right.
are you telling me that you trust the people running the other clubs? You know, are the younger guys getting
Yeah.
the teaching and the mentorship that they need to mature as baseball players? I just
Absolutely. Yeah. You have to assume the dysfunction is from the top down,
okay.
obviously. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I think that
you
makes sense. So you're taking
yeah,
the over on
I
121
think
or on
I think
120.
they I think they break the record.
Okay. I'm gonna have to make a spreadsheet so we can keep track of these, but I am gonna
Okay.
take the under because I think they're going to just like they did with his 21 games. They didn't get to 23. I think they're gonna lose 119 or 120 games. So they're gonna get
Okay.
really close, but won't actually meet or break the record. So we will revisit this and maybe we can put a poll out to the listeners and see what they think. The over or under on 121 loss season for the White Sox. My other question around the White Sox for you is will manager PedroGrifol keep his job through the end of the season? Because it seems like there's not great vibes surrounding him. What's your read on that?
Before I answer that, real quick, I had to do the math. I had to pull out the calculator because as this is not a math pod and I'm not that Asian. So 162 games minus the 121 losses. Their record, they have to win 41 games total this season
Yes.
in order for that to happen. And they're
Yes.
at is that 20? I think they're at 28
I
wins.
believe
Is that
so. Yes. 28 or maybe they have 29 now.
28? They're at oh my god, they're at
28.
20. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't. So they have to win 13 more games in order. I don't think they win. I don't think they win 13.
I didn't
I don't
look
think
at the
they win
schedule
13
at
more.
all. This is strictly based on vibes, so, that's all I know.
I don't think they win 13 more games. I will, however, say that odds are when they face the Astros, we're losing that series. Just they're gonna get 2 of those wins from us just 'cause that's how it rolls. Like, yeah, no, I don't. I'm even more firmly planted in they are going to break that record.
Alright.
But I don't
Uh,
understand how Pedro Grifol still has his job. That's
yeah,
so
I think it's weird. I don't not that I'm saying, like, it's definitely on him and he's absolutely the problem. He's clearly not the only problem, but that just
right.
seems like something that you do when your organization when your team is this bad. Like, you've gotta do something. So that's I
Well,
think they haven't done it.
and so I guess it's Montoya, whoever the manager was for the Blue Jays before they hired Schneider.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanna say, didn't he get fired in the middle of the season?
He did. I believe we talked about this. Yeah, Charlie Montoya. Was he fired? I'm not sure. There was someone who was fired that we talked about.
There was some brouhaha over there with the Blue Jays and him. I don't remember what it was, but I feel like he was fired. And Schneider picked it up. And I want to say that I remember reading an article that a lot of the players were really happy when he left. Not saying that
Mm,
he was a bad manager, but he was Like, I guess he didn't give them direction. Like, he wanted to be their friend versus their manager. And I was knowing that, and then seeing that he was in the White Sox organization. And so if Pedro
Yeah.
goes, it's just going to go to him. I don't think it's going to get any better. But then
Right.
they mandated batting practice. And I was like, I was under the impression that everyone took batting practice. Apparently not. I just, is batting practice
Oh,
not the
yeah.
same for everybody?
No, I'm not sure. I'm sure it's something that is different organizationally, but I know there are players that, like, do not take batting practice and are certainly allowed to have their own routines or ways that they go about it. But
Interesting.
yeah,
Oh,
I guess when you're as bad as they are you just riding it out here and then in the off season reset? Like, that's really the only way I can rationalize it, that there's just no use in
yeah.
in bringing in someone else or, like, the change of hands and just going through that whole rigmarole for show because it's just not gonna make that big of a difference at the
Well,
end of the day.
I mean, what's going to change if you bring somebody else in? Like, what you're still going to have the same players? Are they magically going to have, I don't know, some Rudy-esque type of
Yeah.
motivational speech, and then it rallies the troops, and all of a sudden they start playing well? I don't think that can be a thing. We are big on vibes. They had Tommy Pham there, and if Tommy Pham can't work his
Right.
magic, I don't know what to tell
If
you
Tam
people.
can't save you, who can? Okay, so the bet I'm gonna ask you to put down here on the vibes around PedroGrifol is the over/under on if he keeps his job through the season or if he loses it before the end of the season. Is PedroGrifol the White Sox manager on the last day of the season in 2024? No.
I don't
Alright.
think he is.
Man, I'm gonna keep it really interesting because I'm gonna say yes, he is. I think at this point, why do
It's
anything? But if we know anything, we know the White Sox don't make a whole lot of sense in anything that they're doing. So that will be another
this is
one
true.
that we will revisit for sure.
But okay, so we say vibes are bad in Chicago, and
Yeah.
I think you see that, right?
Yeah.
Eloy
If anyone has
Jimenez,
a different read on that, just let us know.
when the Orioles traded for Eloy Jimenez, I shocked. Shocked. I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why on earth you have outfielders? You are rich with outfielders, Baltimore. What is happening? And all of a sudden now Eloy is playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
He's 2 for 4 today with 2
So
RBIs.
if you think vibes don't matter,
Uh,
take a guy out of
I
the White Sox
present Eloy
organization.
Jimenez. That and then oh, did you see that Miguel Vargas picture?
Oh, yes.
So sad.
Yes, that was heartbreaking. But while we're talking about taking the guys out of Chicago, the last bet we gotta put down on vibes right now is about your guy, TommyPham, who, to my surprise and delight, was traded to the St. Louis Cardinals at the deadline, along with starting pitcher Eric Fetty in a three-way trade with the Los Angeles Dodgers and the White Sox, where the White Sox got some Dodgers prospects, but not really the haul you would have thought they would get for
I don't
really.
understand how St. Louis didn't give them any prospects either. Like,
No,
what
so
is
anyway, yeah, it's been, highly debated how exactly it worked out. I do think, and I am steadfast in my Tommy Edman belief, I do think the value of Tommy Edman is being, like, underrated as always, and that is part of the missing piece of, but the White Sox still, yeah, it seems like they really missed there. Again, bad vibes all around on every level. But what I need to know is I need to know your read on the vibes that Tommy Pham is bringing to the Cardinals, because right now the Cardinals are really on the brink of being in playoff contention in any way, shape, or form. If the season ended today, they would not be in the playoffs. I'm taking a look right now because I believe currently they are tied with the Pittsburgh Pirates in a I guess they're actually a game up from the Pirates right now, but they're still 3 games back from a wild card spot. Does Tommy Pham take the Cardinals and their veteran leadership vibes that they have committed to and doubled down on now to the postseason level? Is he gonna do it? Is he enough?
I think so. I think
Along
so.
with along with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matty
I think
Carp, Brandon Crawford.
I think so.
Could be.
You know that I have loved Tommy Pham, and I wanted that Tommy Pham spark on the Astros. I don't know where he'd play on the Astros. Who cares? I wanted Tommy Pham on the Astros, but I think so. What, the first day back, he had a pinch hit grand slam?
Yes. The
Okay.
pinch
And
hit
then
grand slam in his first at bat back as a Cardinal since
didn't
2018.
he didn't he just hit like a 2-run home run too in
Last night.
today's game?
Yep.
Yesterday's game? Okay. He is already producing and doing things. I say yes. Tommy Pham is enough. Tommy
Alright.
Pham vibes and probably some Eric Fetty pitching. But yes, all of
Okay.
the above.
We're taking the over. We are officially taking the over on the veteran leadership vibes. So we'll put out some polls, see where the listeners stand. Let us know. Drop a comment because we'd love to hear what you think about the White Sox record, PedroGrifol keeping his job, and TommyPham's shock to the Cardinals system, hopefully. But let's loop in some other trades here because something that you and I talk about a lot is we reference teams as being for real. And I feel like you and I know what that means, but I
Right.
hope this segment is going to help our listeners know a little bit what we mean, a little bit more what we mean by for real. And actually, we touched on a good way to set the stage for this when in our trade deadline episode with Tom, because we were talking about like why people don't give the Yankees their flowers more or whatever. And people are more excited about the Guardians and stuff. And that I think is a really good example of a team that I think is for real in the Guardians versus one that is maybe not in the Yankees. And that is because they have to have all the things firing on all cylinders and the right mix of both payroll and strategy and vibes. It's like all the things.
And if you say vibes don't matter, can we point you to the Chicago White Sox? Okay.
And look at every team who wins at the end the World Series. There's something that they have, that X factor. The X factor, it's also known as AKA vibes.
Vibes.
So one of the biggest trades, maybe the biggest trade, was the Jack Flaherty trade from the Detroit Tigers to the Los Angeles Dodgers, which happened at the very last minute. Is this, along with the other moves that they made at the deadline, enough to make the Dodgers for real? Is Jack Flaherty the playoff level starter that they need?
I don't actually know. I don't know if this version of Jack Flaherty is for real. I hope it is because he has been lights out this season. I don't know if Jack Flaherty is the spark that gets the Dodgers going again. Honestly, I think it's Mookie coming back.
Not
Will be
Tommy Edman?
I think Tommy Edman
Also?
will help for sure, but I think it may be Mookie. I think it may be Mookie. He will help out that bottom of the lineup, the outfield, because that outfield is ridiculous.
So if playoffs are tomorrow, who are the 3 game 1, 2, 3 starters for the Dodgers? Tyler Glass now.
Tyler Glasnow,
I think it's gotta be Jay
Jack.
Flair.
Yeah, Jack Flaherty is. What is the status of Yamamoto? I don't. Is he even throwing?
Exactly. There's a lot of
I
people
don't
who
think
do
he's
not think
throwing.
he is throwing, but there's a lot of people that think he might not be back at all this year. And then Bobby Miller's down in AAA figuring some stuff out. Clayton
Yeah,
Kershaw is back. That poor man
there's
and
no
his horse
way.
record. I can't imagine
There's no way that anyone can
wheel
believe
him
that
out
Clayton
there.
Kershaw is actually gonna start and win a playoff game.
I would love that for
That's
him,
a
just
caveat.
for his
Yeah.
storied career, you know what I mean? Like that I would love for that to be able to happen, but yeah, I can't imagine that's a good
Let's see.
idea.
He threw a 30-pitch bullpen session on Tuesday, and the bullpen was Yamamoto's second since he landed on the injured list June 16th. In his previous session, which took place Saturday, the right-hander threw 20 pitches, and he increased that count by 10 on Tuesday. Yamamoto is slated to toss another bullpen this week before pitching to live hitters next week. If he continues to build up without any setbacks, Yamamoto could return to the Dodgers rotation in late August or early September. If that happens, then it would be Glasnow, Yamamoto, Jay Blair. We had Gavin Stone, which had been decent for them,
Yeah.
but he's gotten lit up these last couple of times out. Bobby, like you said, Bobby Miller is still figuring things out in AAA. Walker Buehler is not even at one of the Dodgers complexes. He's at Driveline, whatever complex, whichever one of those companies is in Florida. He's over there figuring things out. So not even within the Dodgers organization, which I did that puppy dog, like tilt my head to the side type of confused. That's what I feel like with Walker Buehler. And I was very, I guess not shocked, but I was a little taken aback that the Dodgers allowed him to figure it out elsewhere and not within the Dodgers organization. He'd earned it, maybe? What do you think?
Who knows? The Dodgers have certainly their own way of going about dealing with rehab of pitchers that seems to work well, so I don't question it, but it is a little different, and it still seems like there are some really big question marks for
Well, and
them.
Brewster Gratterall just went down again. See that?
Yes. And Jack Flaherty, I think, was the best option that was available
Yeah.
at the trade deadline. I don't think Tarek Skubal or Garrett Crochet was gonna move, so I I don't know what else they really could have done, but yeah, it's at the point now where you can only do so much to fix it, and it has to be within your own organization. So we shall see. I will say the Dodgers haven't been like as overwhelmingly dominant as I think people expected them to be. And there are definitely some questions going into the playoffs whether or not they will be for real. I have to ask you about the Pirates, though. Like, we have to talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates because I think a lot of people are like, don't care and are still like, the Pirates are not here to play. They're not in this conversation. I'm afraid that the Pirates are for real.
Hold on.
Did the
Before
Pirates
we
do enough?
hold on, before we talk about the Pirates, though, I need to ask
Okay.
you, are the Padres for real?
Ooh, I do think the Padres are for real. And we're going to talk about the Mets as well. I put the Padres and the Mets kind of in this pocket together. The Padres are more for real than the Mets. The Mets are like, because the Mets are like riding vibes, like really high. Can vibes sustain? I don't know. But the Padres and the Mets both last year had a whole lot of payroll. And because they just poured on the money and used that as they just let money and spending overtake strategy so much. And they needed a better balance of like payroll and strategy. So they're like finding that now, especially the Padres, because AJ Preller is a great mind and has the strategic knowledge to build a team that way. So you're seeing that kind of even out, I think, this season for the Padres. And they did the thing at the deadline. They did it. They did what they could. That bullpen is, they can take a
Lights
lead
out.
into the 8th. Yeah, even the 7th. Shut it down.
So
Sign the
then
check. They're done.
as it currently stands, the Padres are half a game back from the Diamondbacks,
Mhm.
who are 3.5 games back from the Dodgers. Do we get anybody else from the NL West in a playoff picture?
So there could potentially, like right now, if playoffs were today, we'd have 3 NL West teams in the playoffs, which is pretty crazy. It's funny how this kind of bleeds right into our conversation about the Pirates because the Giants and the Pirates have neck and neck. They're tied in the wild card spot right now. They're both right at 500. But for some reason, like in my mind, the Giants are like out of the conversation. And I think the Pirates are still very much in it. What's your read on those two teams comparatively?
I think you're correct. I don't know why we feel that way, though.
It's the Giants. I think it's just they always fade into the background. That's just the story that they're living
I
in right
think
now.
it's because they don't have a starting rotation of names. They've got Logan Webb, and that's like Kyle Harrison is a young arm that's come up. Hayden Birdsong is a young arm that's come up. He had been
They have
good.
Blake Snell, who's throwing no hitters now, who's like
Blake Snell has finally come
five
back
and
and
five
been Blake Snell.
now.
hmm But besides that, their position players are not everyday names that everybody knows. I know them because I have 2 on my fantasy team, and they've been ranking Elliot Ramos and Tyler Fitzgerald. If you don't know who Tyler Fitzgerald is, I need you to go look up Tyler Fitzgerald numbers. He's the shortstop for the San Francisco Giants, and 94% of you are like, "The fuck is Tyler Fitzgerald? We have never heard that name." Go look up his stats. Absolutely raking. And the fact that they don't have any of those, they tried. They tried in the offseason, but it didn't work out so well. And I think that's why the Pirates have Paul Steen. They've got Jared Jones coming back. They have got, keep saying Bailey Falter. No, Bailey Ober. Bailey Ober is from the Twins. Bailey Falter is the Pirates. They've got Mitch Keller. So their starting rotation is really good. They
That's
just
the
need
thing.
a little bit more
Yeah.
talent, a little bit
And
more offense.
and they added, I always say his name wrong. I'm gonna do it again.
Isaiah
IKF. I
Kanekaleva.
always say
Mhm.
IFK. I
I
IKF.
don't know. I don't know. That's the bat that is going to be super helpful. Like I know that he can fill in multiple positions. I think Brian De La Cruz, however, is one of those bats that
Absolutely.
is going to be very meaningful for them. A big power. So
Absolutely. IKF is having a career year though on many levels. So he is hitting much better than
mhm.
one might expect him to be. If that holds up, I think it was certainly timely for them. He also just fills the need. He's very versatile. He's a good utility guy. Yeah, he has 3.3 WAR on this season, which is not something I would have necessarily expected from him. But yeah, he is hitting 264, or I'm sorry, no, 292 on the season. And yeah, he's striking out a lot less than he normally does. 7 home runs, so he's not gonna be a big home run hitter, which is where you get Brian De La Cruz, and I just think piecing those 2 guys together is more than I thought that they were gonna do to bolster the offense, which is why,
Absolutely.
with what you pointed out about the pitching, I'm like, "Oh, you have second
Yes.
for the
Yep.
Pirates
And
for
Jared Jones is coming back. I want to say he's going to make a rehab start next week.
what?"
So he will be back in the rotation post haste. Thank Jesus, because my fantasy team needs him badly as well. But I don't know. I mean, we just got done playing the Pirates, and De La Cruz, man, I just I need the errors to come down and yeah,
O'Neal Cruz? Is that what
yes,
you're talking about? Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
I saw the De La Cruz, and then my brain was like, we're not gonna work anymore. But I think he made 3 errors in one of the games and just handed us run. Just
Yeah.
we didn't wanna win that game anyways, but he was just like, "Here you go, more runs. For you? Cool, okay." But I think that's gonna come with more playing time and just more experience. Essentially, last season, he got hurt. So this season, it really is like rookie year.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
for all practical purposes. Yeah, and I agree. I think the talent is there. I think it's almost just like reining it in for him. But at this moment in time, and especially if they're gonna make any kind of a playoff run, that is a differentiator for them. So that's why you gotta think that IKF makes even more sense. IKF. I wrote IFK
yes,
on the paper.
you wrote
IKF.
IFK.
I'm like,
You
why do I wanna say
you got it, though. You got it. IKF. Isaiah Kiner Faleta.
I should just call him, yes, by his actual name because I can remember that somehow easier than saying IKF. Yeah, they also got 2 left-handed relievers to bolster their bullpen, which is certainly where else they needed help, but yeah, I think that lineup is no longer just Brian Reynolds that you have to worry about, and we'll see if it's enough. There's just still so many teams in the conversation here, which brings me to the Mets, who are actually ahead of the Pirates. They're only a game and a half out of the wild card, and yeah, 59 and 54. They made some moves at the deadline, they made it happen, nothing too crazy or sexy, but enough that they're definitely better than they were before. Do we
Yeah,
have to OMG be worried about the Mets?
I think you do because
Yeah.
I think the Braves are in a free fall. I don't
Yes.
I don't know if the Braves are gonna be there in the
Isn't that
postseason.
wild? A
So, I
postseason
mean,
without the Braves just seems wrong at this point in baseball time.
they're currently losing to the Brewers 8-4, bottom of the 8th.
Damn it, Braves, can you help a girl out?
Milwaukee has put 14 hits on them, and it was the Chris Sale start today.
Ooh, yeah.
So, I don't know how let's see. Yeah, it looks like Chris Sale only went 4.2, gave up 9 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned runs, struck out 10, allowed 2 walks. But then Johnson, I don't I was like, "Andre Johnson? No, that's a totally different sport. That's not correct at all." I don't know which Johnson that is for the Braves bullpen.
Oh, who knows? But that right there tells you a lot about the state of the Braves. It's crazy that anything
Well,
can
yeah.
happen because they have been ironclad and a lock into the playoffs for a number of seasons now, and they are certainly one of maybe 5 teams that you picked like, "Oh, definitely, they will be in the postseason at the beginning of the season."
Yeah, Pierce Johnson. There we go. Pierce Johnson replaced Chris Sale after it was 3-2, and then Blake Perkins stole second, Andrew Monsterio walked, and then Garrett Mitchell rounded out with the bases loaded. But the fact that offense that was freaking amazing last season is not there this season, and that kind of hid some deficiencies. It's not there. It's not there to hide the deficiencies this season. They are on the struggle of I was talking about team strikeouts, like what team lead MLB in strikeouts, and surprisingly enough, the Braves were up there.
Wow.
Do you want to know where the Braves are in the rankings of strikeouts?
Teams with the most strikeouts. Tell me which team has the most?
You should know that.
The White
Seattle
Sox?
Mariners.
Oh, the Mariners.
But surprisingly, it's the Seattle Mariners. They strike out the most by a lot. So it's the Seattle Mariners, Colorado Rockies, Boston Red Sox, your top 3.
Okay, so they're not in the top 3. Are they
Nope.
6th?
They are 7th.
Okay.
4, 5, 6, 7th. They are 7th with a 10,000. Good night. 1,020.
Especially for the
That
number of, like, seasoned hitters and, like, contact hitters that they have in that lineup, that is surprising.
no, Matt Olson has contributed to that single-handedly by
I
himself,
was gonna say,
100%.
he probably has the most, right?
A lot. So many. All of them. He has so many strikeouts, but that
Yeah,
is
he must
1
do.
fewer than the Tampa Bay Rays, and that is 9 fewer than the Pittsburgh Pirates. So Seattle Mariners, Colorado Rockies, Red Sox, Oakland A's, Pittsburgh Pirates, Tampa Bay Rays, Atlanta Braves, Cincinnati Reds, Chicago White Sox, Chicago Cubs. That rounds out your top 10.
All right.
Yeah. The St. Louis Cardinals are right below average, or right below league average. The league
What? They're
average
right in the
being
middle? They're right in the middle of something
shocking.
statistically?
Shocking. I
That
know.
is that's
Your league average of strikeouts is 952, and they are right underneath it with 945.
there you go.
Do you want to know which team strikes out the least?
Yes. I don't really have
It
a
used
good
to be
guess.
it used to be the Houston Astros. We no longer have that mantle. It is
Okay.
now the San Diego Padres.
Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
bringing it back.
San,
The
San Diego
Padres.
Padres have 761 strikeouts. The Kansas City Royals have 776.
Yo. So that's
The
the team we
Houston
talk about
Houston
being
Astros have 806, and then the Cleveland Guardians have 814. So that
so the
is
team we have been talking about being for real that was like under the radar all season long has been the Kansas City Royals. And they currently hold the last wild card spot for the American League. They're at 63-52. They are how many games back of Cleveland? Let's take a peek. Oh, they're 4.5 games back from Cleveland. The Twins are ahead of them just by a game. I guess maybe we say are the Kansas City Royals. They acquired relief pitcher Lucas Irseg from the A's, which was an awesome pickup to bolster their bullpen. And they also got Paul DeYoung from the Chicago White Sox, who you assume obviously like you're like Bobby Witt is at shortstop. Why do they need Paul DeYoung? He's a right-handed bat. He's having a kind of a comeback year for him, and he can slot in at third base for them as well. So yeah, I think they maybe didn't do as much as they may have ideally wanted to do, but again, they definitely got better. So are the Royals or the Twins like more for real at this point?
I think it's the Royals.
I think so too.
As
Yeah.
Twins fans, I'm very sorry. I'm so sorry, but I think it's the Royals at this point.
Did you see? I read some quote this week from Carlos Correa that he said he thinks the Twins, they think they have what it takes to win it all.
Maybe if everyone can stay healthy on the field all at the same time. But
Yeah.
didn't he just go back on the IL?
I'm not sure if he's actually on the IL or not, but I just think like overall, even if they are healthy, it would have to be like everything would have to go really right. And I just don't, again, if you're weighing all of the things that have to be cohesive in order to be for real at this point in the season, surrounded by all these other teams that are really close, biting at the heels, pulling ahead at any moment in time. And I think I just see them fading into obscurity like the Giants.
Yeah, Correa is still not running full speed. He is unlikely to join the Twins during their 4-game series against the Cleveland Guardians. That begins Friday. He's ramping up his running right now, says manager Rocco Baldelli. He's not sprinting yet. When he's able to sprint and run the way he needs to, he's going to go on a rehab assignment and go get some at bat. Then he'll be on his way back at that point. He has not hit that point yet. He did some jogging last weekend and appeared to be on track for a rehab assignment, but experienced some pain in the plantar fasciitis in his right heel. So he hasn't started running at full speed. It sounds like he could still be out for several more weeks. Like I said, if that lineup is healthy, if he's healthy, if Byron Buxton is healthy, if Royce Lewis is healthy, if Jose Miranda is healthy, they have got some boppers. Brooks Lee. That team can bop with the best of them. But it's fact they all can't be healthy at the same time.
Yeah.
And so I think it's so sorry, Twins. So sorry.
I'm with you. I think we read that one right from the start. Do you want to play this fun game with me? I'm sure. Have you ever played? Do you and your mom friends sit around and play Fuck, Marry, Kill all the time?
No, I don't.
Me neither.
I don't have many mom friends. I have played that, not the Fuck, Marry, Kill, but I have played Start, Bench, Cut. I've played that way more times than I've done the other.
Great.
So,
same.
yeah.
Yeah, imagine that. So, yeah, we don't really have a lot of experience with the classic game of Fuck, Marry, Kill, which is, of course, when you would give like 3 celebrity names and decide who you want to do the thing with, who you want to marry, and who you want to kill. So, we're going to play who you want to start on your team, who you want to bench on your team, who you want to cut from your team. And I thought it'd be fun to try it with a few different categories because they've got to be like in some way comparable, right? It can't just be like 3 random ass people that you're like, okay, but what for? So first one here is our oldie but a goodie. You get to pick one oldie but a goodie. You've got Rich Hill, Martin Maldonado, and Zach Greinke.
This is easy. I was gonna say it's a layup, but that's the wrong sport metaphor here. This is a home run. I got this. Grand slam. You're definitely starting Greinke. 1000%. Vibes alone, you're starting Zach Greinke. Zach Greinke is possibly one of my favorite baseball players ever. And I'm very sad that he is not pitching this season. And I am very sad that I missed peak Zach Greinke era. So Zach Greinke, start. Rich Hill, bench, Mulvey, cut. Not even cuts. Mulvey, you strap you to a rocket, sir. You all the way. Go.
I think I'm gonna start Rich Hill because I'm a Rich Hill girl, and
You
I
are a Rich
think
Hill fan,
Rich
yep.
Hill is really high on vibes. I really like his commitment to wanting to stay in this game and thinking that he can still make an impact and keeping himself in shape and just not being afraid to be a part of the conversation. He does not give a fuck what anybody else thinks. He is 44 years old, and if he wants to pitch, he might still pitch this season. I would start him. Let's go. Zach Greinke, I'm gonna bench him. I would like to see him come back. I hope the thing with Greinke versus Hill is that I don't know, Rich Hill has had this kind of like up and down his whole career. Zach Greinke took like a more clear regression. So that's where I think I would have to bench him. And then yeah, we can cut Maldi. I do think he's probably a good vibes guy, but when it's time, sit down.
He apparently has all of the intangibles. Just so many intangibles that we can't even
We know teams typically usually value so much. It's definitely what players get paid for.
for sure. For sure. They put that clause in the contract.
Let's pick a super utility dude. Are you gonna start bench cut Ha-Seong Kim, Brendan Donovan, Kike Hernandez?
Oh, again, it is a grand slam. Home run. I gotta go with my dude, my Asian Korean brethren, Ha-Seong Kim, for sure. And then, yeah, I think I gotta go Brendan Donovan, bench. And I think I gotta cut Kike. Strictly on age. But if I'm going on vibe, I think I would reverse that.
That's interesting.
Because I feel like Kike's dance moves are top notch. Top notch. But
That's a very good
if
point.
we're using this for a baseball game, I think I'm gonna have to keep Brendan Donovan. What about you?
I'm starting Bidani. I think Brendan Donovan has what we like to call BDE, Brendan Donovan energy. And I love him. I think he just embodies everything that you want to see in like a ball player. He embodies what it means to be a ball player. I think he is a vibes guy, but he doesn't wear it quite as loud as Kike Hernandez, which I do like about Kike, don't get me wrong. But I think if you're as invested in the St. Louis Cardinals as I am, you get to see that side of Brendan Donovan a little bit more. So I got to start him. I also just think like when he won the utility gold glove, obviously very deserving of it, but I didn't necessarily think that like he was super solid at all the defensive positions he was playing. I just thought he was serviceable. And that's why I always thought Tommy Edman is like elite defensively. So he is still would be my choice, even though Brendan Donovan's going to be your choice in terms of being in the lineup. But Brendan Donovan, even after he has won a utility gold glove, has gone out there and improved himself defensively at all of these positions.
Nice.
And now where I would say, yeah, I feel really solid. And there's not any guy on the team that I would particularly like rather have in any given position than him for the ones that he plays. So gotta go with him. I do love Ha-Seong Kim though. So I'm gonna bench him. Still want to keep him around. Absolutely love him as an option. I love how willing he has been to be versatile. And we've talked about this earlier in the season, but how superstar status in Korea and has just come over here and been like, yeah, I will do whatever is needed of me to help my team win, and had such a great attitude about it. And this one is probably the hardest because I agree with you. Like I did Kike Hernandez, but out of these three guys, if I got to pick one, I'm benching him.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Players first, manager. Start one,
We love
bench one, cut one. Who out of Craig Counsell, Skip Schumacher, Stephen Vogt? What are you doing, Kel?
Ooh. Okay, I'm starting Skip Schumacher because I just love Skip, and I can't wait to see where he's going to manage next season or what is next for him. It is time for the Marlins to free Skip Schumacher and let us see what he's really all about. This shocks me. I'm thinking about this in the moment, and I'm surprising myself. But I'm gonna bench Stephen Vogt. I want him around. I think he has unlocked something that was set up really well for him with the Guardians, but he has come through and done the job. And I do think that he is a piece that is making a difference and bringing out the best in the Cleveland Guardians team, and that he's the guy to do that. And I gotta cut one of my favorite managers in Major League Baseball for the whole time I've been a fan. I was a fan of him as a player as well, Craig Counsell, and that's because I want to throw up every time I see him in a Cubs hat. I want to actually vomit. So He has to be cut. He has not only done the Milwaukee Brewers fans wrong and betrayed them, he has betrayed me as well.
Okay, that's fair.
What about you? Are you
I think I would start Stephen Vogt. I think that he has transitioned seamlessly from player to manager. Typically, when managers come in, it's after they've retired, they've enjoyed their family, they chilled for a little while. Not Stephen Vogt. Stephen Vogt said, "Nah, I love this game. I'm gonna be in this forever." And Stephen Vogt said, "Guess what? I realized that I played last season, but I love this game too much, and here we go." And I think that he understands that player mind since he was just there, and he has done, I say wonders for the Guardians, but I really honestly believe that he, like you said, unlocked something with the Guardians. So I
Mhm.
think I'm gonna have to start Stephen Vogt. I think I'm gonna have to bench Skip Schumacher because the fact that he's still there with the Marlins, knowing that at the end of the season he is probably going to not have a job and still going out and giving it all he's got and fighting for his players and doing all of those things, I think that's awesome. I don't have
Also, does anyone wear the tight long-sleeved shirt with the cutoff hoodie over it the way no, Skip Schumacher is a trendsetter, manager of the year. He's an icon
absolutely.
in my book.
Absolutely. And I don't have strong feelings for Craig Counsell either way. Honestly, though, from as much hype as I heard about him from the Brewers, I honestly thought that he was going to go over to the Cubs and just, I don't know, magically do the thing. And he hasn't. I say that.
No,
I realize players on the field have to do the things as well.
sure.
But it's not been the performance this season that I thought the Cubs were going to have. So I think I would have to cut Craig Counsell because of that.
Do you think it'll be like the curse of the Bambino for the Red Sox started when they traded Babe Ruth away, and this will be like it's like the opposite, but it's gonna be like the curse of Craig Counsell, where the Cubs are never gonna win again for, like, decades because he abandoned Milwaukee. You heard it here first. If I called this, I want someone to play this at my funeral when the Cubs still have not won a World Series since they signed Craig Counsell as manager, okay?
Yeah, I will make sure I will definitely
I
make
would
sure to
now
clip
in
that
history as the person who knew the curse of Craig Counsell
for
on
sure,
August
for
7th
sure.
of 2024.
I will definitely clip that for you, Kelsey.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay,
That's what I do as a considerate co-host. Yeah.
we've got to start bench or cut a vibes first outfielder to wrap it up here. Vibes first outfielders. So these are just like random ass outfielders that you like to see out there. They're fun to watch play and they bring the vibes to the team. We got Harrison Bader, Jose Siri, and Brandon Marsh.
I think I'm gonna have to start Jose Siri.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna have to bench Harrison Bader,
Mm.
and I think I'm gonna have to cut Brandon Marsh.
You're not
Why?
Marshall.
Why? The wet hair is just why, sir?
Oh,
Why are
I know.
you pouring water on your head every about? Like I don't understand. What does it make you play better? I feel like it doesn't. I don't know. I can't. Harrison Bader in a crop top, love that.
Yeah.
And Jose Siri's attitude and vibe, that man gives no fucks about anyone or anything. Nope. He's gonna play how he's gonna play, and he's gonna pimp home runs, and he don't give a fuck. And I love that. I love it.
I feel like actually Brandon Marsh and Jose Siri are like good representations of like you and me vibes a little bit. Like they're like more extreme versions because like
Mm,
I'm gonna start Brandon Marsh. And again, I'm surprising myself because up until Philly's Kelsey, who's only been here for a couple months,
right?
I didn't like not like him, but I was not particularly a fan of him. And now I'm like, that's the jersey I want. This is my favorite Phillies player because he is just
No more Edmundo Sosa.
okay, Souza is my actual favorite Phillies player,
Okay.
but he doesn't start every day. Neither does Brandon Marsh, honestly. So I gotta have them both out there and have those guys to be invested in. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Marshy now. I just think he is like a very chill, very just happy. Like he's so genuinely happy and kind. And I agree with you so much though that the reason I couldn't get on board with him before was like I just saw the hair and was like, dude, why? It's just more work for you and it doesn't look good. So it's just gross. So I can't say that I get that, but because of who he is on the inside, I'm going to start Brandon Marsh. I'm going to bench
Sure.
Harrison Bader because, as you said, hey, Bay in a crop top, give it to me any day of the week. I am very concerned, though, because I do believe that he is currently growing a mullet. And listen, if anyone can pull it off, it's Harrison Bader, but I don't need that. I don't want to see that. And I'm gonna cut Jose Siri. Not that I don't appreciate him for exactly what you said he is, but that's a little intense for me. It's not my Brandon Marsh, my like chill happy guy vibes. So there we go.
That's fair. That's fair. I like it. I'm gonna throw you a curveball because it's not written down here in the notes, but I thought about it in my brain and I was like, oh, this is a good one. This is who do you want in a skerfuffle? In a kerfuffle. In just a scrappy charge in the mound type fight. Okay. Which current player do you want? TommyPham, James McCann, or Roldis Chapman?
Ooh.
Start one, bench one, cut one.
That's so hard because if I was really just being like smart of who I want in my side, I probably would start Aroldis Chapman, but I just can't put start and Aroldis Chapman together in any way, shape, or form for myself. So we're going TommyPham because he knows pain. He's been stabbed and he stays ready. We know he stays ready. So
Absolutely.
I know that he would have my back. He'd be ready. And I feel like he's a little more his like version of crazy is a little bit more like focused and reined in than maybe
Hmm.
Aroldis Chapman. This is
Probably.
how I'm gonna
I
back
think
this
you're
up,
correct.
okay? James McCann, because, again, I think it's the rage is maybe a little more focused, and I'm gonna bench him. I'm gonna cut Aroldis Chapman because it's just I think it would be a little too lashing out. I'd be afraid he would turn on me. I don't trust him for anything.
Okay, that's fair.
How about you?
So we're cutting Aroldis Chapman. I can't. I don't like him. I just named him because he was like really big and strong, and he
Yeah.
threw literally the fastest pitch in Statcast era at 100 and literally 105, like 0.1 miles an hour.
Yeah, no, he's a dude if that's
So
the only thing you care about.
yeah, big motherfucker. Don't care. I think, and this was really hard because James McCann legitimately took a freaking baseball to the face and played all 9 innings of a game
Yes.
with a broken nose and called the game. I was like, I'm sorry, what? Every movement you knew had to be fucking excruciating.
Yeah.
How you do that? Like, what? I'm sorry. And he goes, and then afterwards in the interview, he had said that he knew that if he went out, then Adley would had to have caught 17 innings and he was going to do that. I'm all, oh, that's insane. I can't even, my head, it doesn't, nope, can't, no. This was so close, but I'm going to have to go Tommy Pham because he's scrappy. We, obviously he doesn't have to get ready because he stay ready all the time.
Right.
So Tommy Pham, James Can, Aroldis Chapman. Start, bench, cut. There we go.
And you see how TommyPham has, like, we talked about this in our trade deadline episode too, like how many teams that he has been on, and every team that he's been on, he's been all in for that team. Like he was on foul territory being interviewed about being on the White Sox days before he was traded, and he still would not say a bad freaking word about that team and the organization. So yeah, I think that's where I'm saying he would have your back. I think he's a very loyal to who he is loyal to. So I want him on my
Absolutely.
side. Let's go.
For sure. For sure. So, you guys out there, listeners out there, tell us in the comments who you would start, bench, cut, if you agree. If you disagree, tell us your feelings on
And if
any
you
of
have
these.
other categories because of who you want to start bench cut, because this is really fun.
Yeah, I like these. I like these. With that said, we are going to wrap it up. Kelsey, tell the peoples where they can find you on the interweb.
If you're watching on the YouTube, you can find me right where it says below here at KBird Tweets, KBURD Tweets. That is the name of my YouTube channel. So if you're on YouTube, you can just find that. And then that's where I'm on Twitter as well. My Twitter has my link tree that'll take you to my podcast, Peace, Love, and Baseball, and all the other good stuff. And yeah, that's where I'm hanging out talking about baseball all the time. How about you, Suzy?
Peoples, if you don't follow Bourbon and Baseball on the socials, why not? I don't understand. That's just so silly. You get this witty repartee in, I was going to say spoken form, and that's not what Twitter is.
And 140 characters or
written
less.
form. Yes, written form. You get this witty repartee. And then also on Instagram, TikTok, the YouTube. If you have not already subscribed, what are we doing? Please subscribe. If you are on the audio side and you listen on Apple or Spotify, please give us 5 stars over there. That would mean so much to us. Do the little tippy tappy typey thing with the word, say the nice word in a review. We also would love that. Side note, totally missed our 2-year anniversary.
That's right.
Yes, totally missed it. It was August 2nd, 2022 is when I first launched Bourbon and Baseball with a good friend of mine, Shelby. I was going to say she's no longer with us, like she's dead. She's not dead. She's just not on the podcast anymore. And we have been going for 2 years. That is absolutely insane. That
Amazing.
I randomly started this because I wanted an outlet to talk about baseball that wasn't with like old white guys. I have an old white guy. I don't want to talk anymore to any more
Me
old
too.
white guys. And it's been great. And it led me to you, Kelsey. And I
Here we
love
are.
that.
It's pretty
Hopefully,
awesome. And
hopefully
it
we
is
can do
huge.
this for a long more time. A long more time?
Yeah.
A lot more time?
Huge kudos to you, Suzy, because I don't think as someone who has been doing my podcast for almost 2 years, hopefully we're gonna go another month, we're gonna get there. But it is not as easy as you make it look. So that's something to be really proud of. And I'm glad you remembered to shout it out because yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big deal. You're a big
It
deal.
is. It's totally a big deal. I'm not really a big deal, but I've been having fun learning about all of the baseball, learning about so much more than just the Astros. And it's been a good time. And I've got to meet super awesome people. But we are going to wrap it up. And like I said, if you have not already subscribed, please subscribe. Hit a like on this episode. Share it with a friend. We would love that so that we can continue this forever and ever. With that, we are going to say good night and maybe